Falmouth Harbor and English Harbor are just absolutely gorgeous little spots in Antigua. They're right next to each other, so I ended up anchoring in Falmouth Harbor, but I did walk over to English a bunch and check it out because it's got a bunch of historical significance. Interesting thing about Antigua is that it's one of the first islands that I went to that was not affected by the hurricane. It's full of beautiful, lush vegetation and tall trees, and it just really feels like the tropical paradise that probably the other islands did feel like. So when I was in Falmouth, I met some guys who worked at the local sailing school, and they sort of adopted me and took me out on their chase boats while they were coaching the Opti races, and they took me wakeboarding in their boats with them, and we hung out after work, and they really made me feel welcome into Antigua. I love meeting locals when I travel because it gives me an intimate flavor of what each island is like. Interestingly, I haven't really been meeting any other cruisers. I think partially because I'm in such the end of the season. I think I'm meeting locals so easily because I'm just me by myself in my rowboat. Oftentimes I meet people when I row up with my jerry jugs and try to get water, and they're like, "Who are you? What are you? Why? What are you doing?" But even though I was having all this fun, I did have some projects that I still had to work on. So one of the days I decided to tackle a pump that had been failing for a while. Today I'm gonna do the fun project of rebuilding the pump in my head. It has been leaking for the past ever since it was installed. The leak is getting a lot worse, and now it's filling up the locker where the pump is and then draining into the bilge that's about this deep in the head and sloshing around obnoxiously, plus it's leaking. And if the gasket does completely blow, that would be really bad. So I bought this in St. Martin, and I've been very busily not replacing it because I'm not really looking forward to that task, but I've decided today's the day. Here we go. I'm gonna open this. It's like an unboxing, but not exciting. Let's see what they gave me. Oh, right, okay, so we have the gasket here. It's really nice. Instructions, but who reads those? Get rid of that. Have a little O-ring. Whatever this thing is, I'm probably going to figure that out real fast, hopefully. Otherwise, I'm screwed. This thing, I don't even know what this is. A bunch of bolts. And let's see, it's got little nuts and some weirdly shaped washers that kind of look like the Batman signal. I don't know. And more instructions. I don't know why they keep putting instructions in these things. I mean, waste of paper. Alright. Read carefully before installation and use. Step 1 is to pump out all the water that is accumulating in here. See, sloshy, icky water. Okay, well, first things first, this little pump that I use doesn't prime itself, so you have to prime it with your mouth, which is really nasty because this is leaky toilet pump water. They always tell you not to mouth the pipette, but, you know, fuck them. Try to get all the water out of the system. Step 2, close through hulls. Check. Step 3 is read the instructions. I was just joking. I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm definitely going to read those little things. Okay, so we have a little diagram here of how the pump goes together. Let's see. Oh, this is the valve de sortie. I think that means exit valve. Joint du couvercle supérieur. The something superior. Well, that's fine. I like superior things. Plan of view holes. Alright. Now where's the English version? Sometimes you need vice grips to undo your vice grips. Viceception. Okay, I have my tools. I think this is all I'm going to need, hopefully. Step 1, remove the 8 screws holding top cover to body, RAT. I know that I've closed the through holes, but I'm still partially afraid that at some point a giant jet of water is just going to smack me in the face while I'm doing this. I'll share it with you guys if that happens. I'm not a magical smart-brained smarty, so I like to take pictures of everything before I take it apart so that when I put it back together, I can be like, oh right, that's the orientation of that thing. Because I have had way too many times when I take something apart and don't think about it, and then I go to put it back together and I cannot. Okay, it's already dripping, but I think there's no way that I can get all the water out of hoses, so hopefully it doesn't drip too much. It pops off. That's undone. That is disgusting. Next step I think is to take off the little bolt in the middle. This is really icky and I wish I had gloves. And I feel like this is not supposed to be making that horrible noise. So I feel inside. Okay, all the parts I remove are going into this water with a hint of bleach. It's my new LaCroix flavor. Okay, now it says the diaphragm can be replaced. So that's this disgusting thing. Ooh. And we don't want to touch it. Oh, disgusting, disgusting. Oh, but I don't have any one of these, so I have to save this thing. Ah! Ick, I'm touching it. Ew, you go into the water. You go into here. Okie doke. I'm going to wash out the inside of this with bleach water. And this bit goes on like so. Okay, next step. Oh, I think this has to do with the top part of the pump. Replace the inlet valve from the pump top cover. That's this thing somehow. Okay. Oh yes, I'm very strong. Jesus Christ. Pump top cover is removed. Aha! This did not have its little O-ring in it, so luckily there's one that came with the kit, so we'll put that in. That could be part of the problem, hopefully. Now it's this thing, these 4 screws here. The outlet, that's the weird little thing I said I didn't know what it was. Now I know what it is. Rebuilding the pump, not as much fun as you'd think it was. Oh my god, this is so disgusting. I don't have any gloves. I'm gonna try to use paper towels to protect my fingers. This is so gross. Boats are disgusting. Okay, moved the operation to the sink. This is calling for some heavy-duty cleaning. I cannot put this back in how it is. Tra-la-la. Now this weird little thing kind of looks like a squashed magician's hat. This goes in here. Okay, now this is slightly less disgusting. I'm gonna go put it back on. And now for the scary part is to see if it all goes back together and works and doesn't leak. Ah! Why is it that taking something apart is always so much more fun than putting it back together? Okay, moment of truth. I just turned the through hulls back on. Nothing horrible has happened yet. I'm gonna pump all the water out that accumulated in there from the pipes and then flush the head, see if there are any crazy leaks. And if not, leave it for a little bit, see if there are any more crazy leaks. Whew. Oh my god. It works. I am disgusting, covered in years of congealed, calcified shit, sweaty, and definitely gonna go for a swim with probably an entire bottle of bleach. Sorry, coral reefs. This one is for mom. Leaving Antigua was so hard. I did not want to go, but even though I'm taking my time, I do feel like I have a little bit of pressure to keep moving through the islands. As it is, I'm probably not going to be getting to Grenada now until September. I have to keep moving, and I have this problem everywhere. I fall in love with every place that I visit, and if I never left, I'd never see more places. So, it was with a heavy heart that I said farewell to one of my favorite islands, which I say about every island that I visit, but they just keep getting better, and took off for Martinique. I'm leaving this morning for Martinique. It should take about 2 days. And I freshened up yesterday and cleared out. I'm all ready to go. Here are all my perishable foods in my not icebox. Because of a variety of reasons, I have not yet fixed my traveler. One is that it's going to be a little bit more in-depth than I thought it was, so I need to gather more material. The other is that I've been distracted by really fun things, that I spent a lot of my fixing time working on the pump in my head because that broke and that was a little more pressing. So I have created a fake traveler. It's actually not a traveler, there's no traveling involved, but it will hold the main sheet in place, and I think it's going to work pretty well. Definitely better than lashing the aft end of it, because that just really sucks. I'm back at sea on my way from Antigua to Martinique. This passage is going to take me about 2 days, approximately. I'm starting to get the feeling when I go to sea that everything about land life that's stressful just goes away. I'm just hanging out. It's like the epitome of laziness, but you're also accomplishing things. So it feels like legal relaxation. Anyway, it's really nice weather. The wind is a little bit light, but that just makes it more comfortable, and I just get to be in the proverbial bed for a little bit longer. It's night one on my trip to Martinique. It's such a beautiful night. The stars are out, there's biolume on every wave. The wind is pretty light, and the seas are little. I'm going about 4 knots now. I was going 3 earlier. I'm cutting through a pass between the east coast of Guadeloupe and this little island that's off the east coast, and I think I'm going to hit it right at sunrise, so that's really lucky because I wasn't too enthused about going through it at night, but I was going to because it cuts off a ton of easting. Stoked to be here, just in my series of half-hour naps, so I just got to check for ships, and I'm gonna go take another nap. The next morning, Guadeloupe appeared with the sunrise on the horizon, and so I'm skipping Guadeloupe and Dominica, going to Martinique, and then going backtracking. I'm passing Guadeloupe right now. Hi Guadeloupe! I'm coming back for you. It looks like such a beautiful island. I'm sad to be going right by it, but so it goes. That whole day was really gorgeous weather. I rigged up my Winnie the Pooh sunshade again, and I hung out in the cockpit. I've recently become obsessed with listening to podcasts, so I've downloaded a bunch of different ones, and I'm kind of testing them all out. And some of them I'll binge listen to about 20 episodes in a row and then decide that I don't want to listen to that podcast again and go on to the next one. I just think it's such a cool resource. You know, I always have listened to books on tape ever since I was a kid growing up. My parents would go to the library and take out cassette tapes, and then they would rip them onto other ones and return the library ones, and that was how we got our collection of bootleg cassette tapes of children's stories. So it's always been something that I've associated in my head with sailing, is listening to audiobooks, and especially when you're by yourself, just hanging out in the cockpit all day. Maybe you don't want to read if it's a little bit rough, or you want to be able to keep looking around and scanning the horizon. So audiobooks and podcasts have really been my best friends when I've been underway. First, we have hundreds of podcasts for free at our fingertips, and you can learn anything. Like, they can be the brainy ones or the funny ones. I kind of listen to a combination depending on my mood, and it just makes me feel really lucky. That night was another really beautiful night until right about midnight, when the wind totally died just as I got to the northern corner of Martinique. Okay, I'm leaving you Scheherazade style with that little cliffhanger. Do I make it to Martinique? If you follow me on Instagram at BoatLizard, you will know the answer to that question. Thank you guys for watching this week's video and following me along on my pump rebuild journey. It was real. Actually, filming these videos as I'm doing an onerous project like that is really fun, because it kind of forces me to step back a little bit and look at the humorous side of what I'm doing. Instead, I can get super laser focused in on what I'm doing and just totally blinders on, not even think about that it's like, oh, weird and disgusting, and I'm also learning things. So it's actually really fun for me to sort of step back throughout the process and do that film stuff. If you like following me on my little journeys, it helps me if you like and subscribe. I put out new videos every Monday at an unappointed time. It's always a surprise, you're never gonna know. I also have a Patreon account if you are able to or want to support me that way. Follow me on Instagram at BoatLizard. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next Monday. You'll hear about the rest of my trip to Martinique more squalls that I experienced, and the fact that it has been raining every day ever since I got here, and what that means for life on board a tiny boat with no dodger and no awning and no way to really be outside unless you get completely soaking wet, which I do a lot. Alright, see you guys.